Hello, this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is your weekly tarot card reading. And for this week's reading, I'm using my favorite deck, the Crystal Visions Tarot. So I'm just going to draw one card for each portion of the upcoming week, and I just want to get a general kind of overview of what's going to be coming up for us this week. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust my camera here. Okay, so I'll start with the first card, which represents Monday and Tuesday. And I remember last week I had all swords cards, and so I'm hoping this week we'll have a little more balance in that regard. But beginning of the week, we've got Ace of Swords, which is really good. It's nice to have an ace at the beginning of the week. So whenever an ace shows up, it's always, well, it's not always, but often a sign of a new start, a fresh start, and a new beginning. And with the swords, I always get this sense like it's about, because swords is about, you know, mind and thoughts, this is about a new idea or a new perspective that's gonna kind of pop into your head probably near the beginning of the week, or even before the beginning of the week. And there is a real sense of a need to take action and a need to be somewhat, not forceful, but clear and direct in your actions and your communications this week. If you're normally the kind of person who likes to kind of mull on things and sort of think things over a lot and really weigh your options, this week you're going to want to maybe push that tendency aside and be a little more forthright in your actions, be clear in your intentions, and really kind of take action on things. If there's an idea that you have that you want to bring to fruition, start making plans to make that happen. And don't let yourself get caught up in other people's dramas or sort of the red tape of of life. So all those little things that can really kind of pull you down and kind of drain your energy. So sort of using the sharpness of your perception to cut through that red tape to see what's really important and what really needs to be done, and just kind of pushing all the other stuff aside for now. Okay, so moving on to the middle of the week. Nice, we've got a Cups card. Well, that's a relief. So we've got King of Cups for the middle of the week, so Wednesday and Thursday. And the King of Cups energy, you know, he has such a strong personality in this card. I feel like he's, you know, he's very masculine. So there's those masculine characteristics, but there's also a feminine characteristic brought in by the Suit of Cups. So this is about intuition, you know, paying attention to your feelings, but doing that in a way that's somewhat masculine. Now let me explain what I mean by that, because that probably sounded a bit weird. So when we think of things like, when we think of what the Suit of Cups represents, it represents feeling, emotion, and relationships. And then when we think of what the King represents, he's, you know, he's masculine, he's usually very comfortable in who he is, and he's somewhat dominant and powerful. And so when we bring those two things together, I feel like this message is that we need to take our intuition and our emotions much more seriously, and not sort of belittle them or push them aside. I think there is a tendency, even if, and I mean, I'm thinking of myself, even though I read a lot and talk a lot about intuition and how important it is, it's still really hard living in this kind of society that values, you know, the mind and rational thinking over intuition. It's still really hard for me to take my intuition as seriously as I would like to. And so I feel like the message with this is that we need to start taking this really seriously. And if you ever catch yourself sort of not taking your intuition or feelings seriously and valuing, you know, thought over feeling or thought over intuition, just think of the King of Cups and think like, what would he do in this situation? Because the King of Cups knows he has, you know, feelings and emotions, and he knows that tapping into these emotions and feelings is very, very powerful, and he would never shy away from doing that out of, you know, fear of seeming too feminine or fear of seeming unrational or, you know, crazy. Okay, so moving on to the end of the week, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we've got Two of Swords, so another Swords card. The Two of Swords comes up when we need to make a decision of some sort. So we need to make a choice, we need to pick a path, and it's interesting that we start the week off with the Ace, which is telling us to, you know, go forward, don't let things pull you down and distract you. And then moving into the week, we've got, you know, King of Cups. So even though we have this very masculine, very direct, powerful force of the Ace of Swords with us this week, there's also an importance here to honor our feelings and emotions as well. And I feel like that almost kind of trips us up a little bit, because then at the end of the week we're sort of confused. If you notice her, she's got a blindfold, actually I think it's like a feather or something across her eyes, but she's got a blindfold on, so she feels like she can't see clearly. She feels like she doesn't have all the information to make a decision, and she's sort of rendered kind of motionless and powerless for a moment while she tries to decide. And I feel like some of us might be having that conflict between, do I listen to my thoughts and my rational mind, or do I go with my emotions and my feelings? If the two are in conflict, that can be really tricky. But I think this also has to do with a conflict between, you know, do I go great guns ahead and just steamroll through, or do I take a more calm, sort of a feminine approach and take into account other people's feelings around me? And sometimes those two can feel like they're in conflict. So you might have a really great goal that you want to go towards, and then you might get a little bit sidetracked considering how achieving that goal might affect others, or what others might think, or how others are going to feel about this, and that might kind of hold you back a little bit. So when it comes to the end of the week, you're going to feel like you need to make a decision. And the advice that I'm getting from this reading as I look at it is try not to do too much of the sort of like weighing the pros and cons. That's going to have you sort of stuck in that headspace. You want to have a balance between going within to your sort of inner landscape, so your emotions, your intuitive feelings, and sort of the images that come to you when you meditate and when you go within. You want to balance that out with real life action and you know, goal setting, things that are typically kind of would be considered more rational or more masculine. So you want to be able to balance those two things out. But ultimately, I feel like going within to ask yourself the big questions is what's going to bring the biggest results, and it's going to let you get out of that state of feeling kind of indecisive and confused. And you'll notice that she's wearing the blindfold, and that in a way is actually helpful to her, because she's not going to get distracted by external goings on or external events. She's able to really you know, shut her eyes and go within for the answers. And I feel like that's really the true message of this card. And I just noticed all the colors are kind of the same for this week. They're all kind of purpley blues, which is interesting. So once again, I invite you to share your own interpretations of these cards in the comments below. I always love reading how other people see the cards. And my name is Kate. I'm from dailytarotgirl.com. And thank you so much for watching my reading. Have a beautiful week.